Deep sea, 10,000 meters down. You think you know this planet. You've seen the maps. You've seen the photos from space. But here's what they never tell you. Everything we've ever explored, every ocean floor ever visited, every creature ever documented, adds up to less than 5% of what's down there. The other 95%? We have no idea. Below 200 meters, sunlight vanishes. Pressure would crush your body like a soda can. And yet life thrives. Creatures with transparent heads, mouths bigger than their bodies, and bodies that glow with their own cold fire. This is the deep sea, the last true frontier on Earth. And what lives down there will haunt you. The 5 layers of darkness. Imagine standing on the shore and walking straight down into the ocean. For the first 200 meters, everything feels familiar. Sunlight filters through the water, fish dart around coral reefs. The temperature is comfortable. This is the sunlit zone, where 90% of all marine life exists. Then the light begins to fade. Between 200 and 1,000 meters lies the twilight zone. Sunlight weakens to a faint blue shimmer, then disappears entirely. Temperature drops to around 5 degrees Celsius. This is where you start to see creatures that generate their own light, glowing jellyfish drifting like living lanterns. Below 1,000 meters, you enter the midnight zone. Total darkness. Temperature stabilizes near freezing, between 1 and 4 degrees. The pressure is already over 100 times that at the surface. Most submarines can't reach this depth. Food is so scarce that creatures have evolved to eat almost anything, including each other. From 4 to 6,000 meters lies the abyssal zone. The word abyss comes from Greek, meaning bottomless. Pressure runs 400 to 600 times atmospheric. Life moves in slow motion here to conserve energy. Some deep-sea fish have metabolisms so low they eat once every few months. And then there's the final layer, the Hadal zone, named after Hades, god of the underworld. This is the realm of the ocean trenches, reaching nearly 11,000 meters down. Fewer people have visited the bottom of the Hadal zone than have walked on the moon. And yet, even here, at pressures exceeding 1,000 atmospheres, life finds a way. Living light. Down here, there is no light. No sun, no moon, no stars. The darkness is absolute, the kind your eyes never adjust to, no matter how long you wait. And yet, if you turned off your submarine's lights, you would witness something extraordinary. The water around you would come alive. Flickering blue sparks, pulsing green waves, sudden flashes of ghostly white. This is bioluminescence, light produced by living organisms. And down here, it is everywhere. Over 3/4 of all creatures living below 200 meters can produce their own light. Among deep-sea fish specifically, the number climbs above 90%. The anglerfish dangles a glowing lure from its forehead, a built-in fishing rod powered by bioluminescent bacteria. Prey drawn to the light are swallowed whole by a mouth full of needle-like teeth. Deep-sea jellyfish pulse with rhythmic blue light, broadcasting warnings across the void. When threatened, some species release a burst of light like a luminous scream, a distress signal designed to summon an even larger predator that might scare away the attacker. The vampire squid, despite its terrifying name, doesn't drink blood. When disturbed, it wraps its webbed arms over its body like a dark cloak and releases a cloud of bioluminescent mucus, confusing predators with a shower of living fire. Perhaps the most spectacular display occurs at the ocean surface. In rare events called milky seas, bioluminescent bacteria bloom across thousands of square kilometers, bright enough to be photographed from orbit. An entire sea, glowing from within, visible from space. Down here, light isn't just beautiful, it is the language of survival. Monsters of the abyss. The deep ocean is the largest habitat on Earth, and also the strangest. In a world without sunlight, without plants, and with crushing pressure, evolution has produced creatures that make science fiction look timid. The giant squid has eyes the size of dinner plates, the largest eyes of any living animal, designed to detect the faintest bioluminescent glimmers in total darkness. From head to tentacle tip, it can stretch up to 13 meters. For centuries, it was dismissed as a myth, a sailor's delusion. The first photograph of a living giant squid in its natural habitat wasn't captured until 2004, and the first video came 8 years after that. The gulper eel has a mouth that opens wider than its own body. It swims through the darkness with its enormous jaws gaping like a living net, scooping up anything in its path. Its stomach can stretch to accommodate prey far larger than itself, a necessary adaptation when your next meal might not arrive for weeks. The barrel-eye fish has a completely transparent head. Its large green tubular eyes sit inside its fluid-filled skull, pointing upward through the dome of its own head, scanning the water above for the silhouettes of prey. When it spots food, it rotates its eyes forward to look straight ahead, through its own transparent face. Giant isopods, deep-sea relatives of the common pill bug, can grow up to 50 centimeters long, roughly the size of a small dog. They scavenge on whale carcasses and dead fish that rain down from above and can survive over 5 years without a single meal. And the blobfish, famous for looking miserable in photographs, actually looks perfectly normal in the deep sea. Its gelatinous body is precisely adapted to extreme pressure. It only looks deflated and sad when brought to the surface, where the absence of pressure causes it to collapse. The Mariana Trench. In the western Pacific Ocean, east of the Philippines, the ocean floor drops away into the deepest gash on the planet. The Mariana Trench plunges to 10,935 meters, nearly 11 kilometers straight down. If you placed Mount Everest at the bottom, its peak would still be over 2,000 meters beneath the surface. The pressure at the bottom is roughly 1,100 times atmospheric, equivalent to 50 fully loaded jumbo jets stacked on top of you. In 1960, two men, Jacques Picard and Don Walsh, became the first humans to reach the bottom, aboard the bathyscaphe Trieste. During the descent, at 9,000 meters, an outer window pane cracked, shaking the entire vessel. They pressed on anyway, and spent 20 minutes on the seafloor before ascending. 52 years later, filmmaker James Cameron made the journey solo in the Deep-Sea Challenger. He spent 3 hours at the bottom, filming the alien landscape and collecting samples. What he found surprised everyone. There was life. Not just microbes, but actual animals. Shrimp-like amphipods swarming in the darkness. Translucent sea cucumbers gliding across the sediment. Single-celled organisms called foraminifera, building shells from the minerals dissolved in the crushing water around them. Scientists later found bacteria thriving in trench sediment. Organisms deriving energy from chemicals seeping out of the Earth's crust, completely independent of sunlight. But perhaps the most disturbing discovery was not biological. In 2019, explorer Victor Vescovo reached the deepest point and found a plastic bag and candy wrappers. Human trash had beaten us to the bottom of the world. The unknown 95%. Humans have mapped 100% of the surface of the moon. We've mapped 99% of the surface of Mars. But our own ocean floor, actually visited, observed, and documented, less than 5%. The deep sea is harder to reach than outer space. Astronauts face 1 atmosphere of pressure difference between their spacecraft and the vacuum outside. A deep-sea submersible at the bottom faces over 1,000 atmospheres pressing in from every direction. We send telescopes to photograph galaxies billions of light years away, but we cannot see what lies 2 kilometers below the surface of our own planet. And what we keep finding suggests we've barely scratched the surface. Scientists discover an average of 2,000 new marine species every year. In 2023 alone, researchers identified previously unknown species of fish, jellyfish, and worms living in ocean trenches. In 1997, underwater microphones operated by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recorded a mysterious ultra-low frequency sound in the South Pacific. Dubbed the bloop, it was one of the loudest underwater sounds ever recorded, several times louder than the call of a blue whale. For years, scientists debated whether it could be a massive, unknown animal. The current consensus attributes it to an icequake, a large iceberg cracking apart. But the bloop captured the world's imagination because it reminded us of a simple truth. We don't know what's down there. The deep ocean is Earth's last great mystery. Darker than any cave, colder than any desert night, and under more pressure than Venus itself. And it's right beneath our feet, waiting to be explored. Thanks for watching. From the sunlit shallows to the crushing darkness of the Hadal Zone. From creatures that make their own light to monsters with transparent heads and mouths bigger than their bodies. From the deepest trench on Earth, where life somehow thrives, to the 95% of ocean we've never even glimpsed. The deep sea isn't just another place on Earth. It's another world entirely. Like and subscribe. See you next time.